Jealous people are like slithering snakes in the grass. If you've ever been in the country and you saw tall grass, it looks beautiful, but the moment you walk through, there's a possibility of you stepping on a snake because they just lurk about slithering. You can't see them. They're very subtle, but they're there. That is exactly how it is with jealous haters. And that's why you must keep your circle small as you level up. Jealous haters, people who lurk around you, who secretly watch you, but they don't say much. Those that are there under the guise of supporting you, but they don't do anything to support you. They never have anything positive to say. Those are not your supporters. Those are jealous haters. People like that you do not need around you. The more you level up in your life, the more you want to level up in your life, you will soon be able to weed out who is really for you and who is against you. People who are jealous haters, they suddenly become envious of everything that you do and everything that you try to do. When you're trying to level up in life, the last thing you need is people around you reminding you of all of the bad things that could happen. People like that don't want to see you do well. And what's worse is that it's not just that they don't want you to do well. They will try to set you up and have other people go against you. Have you ever had different opportunities and it might be somebody doing the same thing that you're doing and they suddenly start talking to that person more? Suddenly they're closer to that person. You might, for women, a lot of women are opening up hair salons and things like that. And suddenly your girlfriend, your friend, the woman you thought was close to you is now getting her hair done by your competition in the industry. See, haters do things like that. They deliberately want to oppose you. They deliberately want to go against you and try to make things harder for you. People who are haters and jealous and slithering snakes in the grass, they are very subtle. And their actions and the way they act will tell you that they're a snake and they were never for you. When people get intimidated by your success, when people get intimidated by the progress that you're making, when people get intimidated by even how you speak about the things that you want to do, that is a jealous hater. That's the reason why I believe when you're beginning to level up, when you're making efforts in your life, and you're trying to do better, whether it be in your career, your education, your finances, your physical health, whatever it is, it's best to keep those things to yourself and only talk to people that you know are not haters, people that you know you can trust. And I hate to tell you this, oftentimes that is not going to be the people that are closest to you. That will normally be people who don't really know you that well. It's people that you might be acquaintances with. They might see you in passing. You might frequent the same stores. You might frequent the same gym. You're not like best friends, but you're acquaintances. People like that are typically the ones that you want to keep closer to you, opposed to the people that think they know you or have you all figured out. The reason why people being too familiar with you, and that's what it comes down to. People who are too familiar with you often feel like the moment you come up a little bit, it's their job to humble you and try to tear you down. And it's because they saw you in the process. And that's the reason why I believe that it's best when you're starting to do new things, like if you're going to go into a new career field, even if you're going to start working for yourself, your first line of clients, customers, or whoever should not be your family and friends. Most of the times they won't be anyway, and it's because a lot of people, even your closest friends and family members, they like you at a certain level. But the moment you reach a level where they are no longer comfortable with you, that's when the humbling begins. And I am all for being humble, but I am anti people trying to humble you because of their insecurities, because of their jealousy, because they're a hater. That's why as you level up, you need to keep your circle small. When I say keep your circle small, it might be a season where it's only you and your immediate family. It might be just you, your children, your husband, you, your nieces, nephews, and your sister, that kind of just closeness. Because the last thing you need is people around you trying to remind you of how hard the road was before, how so-and-so was doing this. See, when people are jealous and haters, they don't bring up anything that's productive. Everything they talk about is meant to hinder you. Everything they speak about is meant to hinder your progress. They're never going to offer up a solution. They have a problem for every solution that you have. Jealous people, haters, insecure folks, they have a problem for every solution that you have. When you see a way to do something, you see that something can be done, you want to start a business and you're not worrying about loans, you're not worrying about credit, you just know it's going to work out. You have that kind of optimism. People who are jealous of you, intimidated by your progress, they will throw everything out at you. Oh, the interest rates are high right now. That's not the best area to do that. So-and-so and them up the block got right. They just say every little thing trying to be negative. And the last thing you need when you're trying to do something in your life is somebody constantly bombarding you with their negativity. And for a season, I would say don't even ask anybody for their opinion on what you should do. I know there are a lot of people, especially us as women, we want to know, what do you think about this? I'm trying to do this. What do you think? What do you think? I used to be that kind of woman, but the more I started to see that the more I asked for other people's opinions, the more I saw that those people were only comfortable with me at a certain level. They didn't want to see me do greater things. They didn't want to see me speaking up more because they knew if I was, quote, given the mic, I was going to take over. And that's not in a negative way. And if you have that kind of confidence about yourself, little sidebar, don't let anybody try to make you feel like you're being conceited, being cocky, being prideful, being arrogant, all because you have confidence in yourself. Your haters are depending on you to be overly humble, which is nothing more than lacking confidence. When a person is overly humble, they lack confidence. When they don't have a standard for how they want to live and they just let people do what they want to do, whatever you offer me is fine. I don't need the whole cake. Just give me the crumbs. No, I want the whole cake. And it's okay to say that. And your haters and jealous folks, what they also like to do, and this is the reason why you have to have the right kind of people in your circle, they want to always, quote, put you in your place. A lot of people who are jealous and envious of you and intimidated by your success or your potential success, they always find it their mission, their goal to put you in your place, try to humble you like you're some kind of child that needs to be brought back down to earth. And when you are a woman, a grown woman trying to accomplish things for your life, you don't need anybody trying to talk you down off of doing something that you are confident of. And people like that, I just cannot stand. And you can tell they're haters because those people haven't made a change or made a move in their life in years, some maybe in decades. And I'm not saying that everybody is so ambitious. I'm not saying that everybody should be wanting to, take over the world and own corporations and all that kind of stuff. But the difference with haters and jealous people is that that might not be their ambition, but they don't want it to be your ambition either. If they're at the bottom, they want you to stay at the bottom with them because they need to be comfortable down there. And when they start seeing you doing better, especially when they're used to seeing you at a certain level, if they are used to you being in the struggle with them and you have climbed out and you don't have any plans on going back, jealous, haters, people who are intimidated by your success, intimidated by your drive, intimidated by your faith, those kind of people become your biggest haters. So when it comes to your circle and the people you choose around as you choose to be around as you level up, you need to keep your circle to a minimum of maybe like 3 to 4 people, 5 people max. And for me, I like to have people around me, and you don't want to have people around you who are yes men, people who are just telling you whatever you want to hear. But you do want people around you who can offer up some kind of productive and some kind of genuine advice and input. You don't want somebody around you who is constantly only giving you the negative, and then when it comes to something positive, they have very little to say. You can tell when you're dealing with a person who is a jealous, envious hater or intimidated by you by how loose-lipped they are when they're talking about something negative, all of the bad things that could happen, be it to you or just in life. You have to check the attitude and the demeanor of the person that you're around. Just how do they speak about life in general? Are they hyped up about negative things happening in the world? Are they talking about all of the fires and everything that's burning down and everything that's happening and, all the bad stuff, and they never have any positive outlook on anything? Those type of people are typically not the kind of people you want around you when you are trying to do something good in your life. Those type of people will do nothing but discourage you from moving forward in your life if you let them. So surround yourself with people who have a balance, people who are realistic, but not so realistic where they don't see any good in anything in the world. And I must tell you, I dealt with that from a lot of people who so-called call themselves spiritual, but they were some of the most pessimistic, people, stoic people that I have ever met. For me, and just for a moment, spiritual aspect, how can you say you believe and you trust God, but you don't see nothing good happening? I'm not saying the world system, I'm saying for you. Like if you're a so-called chosen one, if you're spiritually grounded, if you're filled with the Spirit and you don't believe that God can do all things, I don't need those kind of people around me that see no way out. And I understand, far as faith, everybody has levels of faith. But if you are the kind of person that's just spreading misery and negativity and you act like there is no God, there is no hope, that is not the kind of person you want around you. Even when it comes to your spiritual friends, you need spiritual friends that know that God can do all things. All things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Last scripture. And they have to believe that, and you walk that faith out. And then just people in general. Once again, you don't want people, and back to that familiar spirit, because some people are too familiar with you. You have to get outside of your immediate area sometimes in order to see growth in your life. I can say for myself, the way I speak to you all, the way I talk to you all here on YouTube, I was speaking like that to a lot of people, but it was mainly acquaintances. And some of my close friends, like my best friend, I have been talking to her and she always tells me, you should have been a therapist, a coach, this and that, because I would offer her advice. And she'd give me advice too, but I would offer her advice and she would just, reassure me that way. But I tell you this to say that the people that you know closely are normally not going to be the people that are willing to receive from you. It's going to be strangers. It's going to be people that don't know you that well. And that's what you want. You don't want a bunch of people around you who think they have you all figured out. Because when you have people around you, other than like a parent, mother, father, we give them a little bit of leeway. But aunties, uncles, cousins, all of them, you don't want people around you who think they have you all figured out, people you went to school with, because when they see you working in your element, when they see you trying to do great things, they're going to look at you as if you are some kind of joke, as if, yeah, she can't do that. I remember when she was raised here. I remember she used to live on the block here. I remember this. I remember that. Those are not going to be the people typically. I'm not saying it can't happen. But normally, those are not the people that are going to be your biggest supporters. They're too familiar with you. And if they have a hateration, jealous, intimidated by your success kind of mentality, want you to stay at the bottom mentality, they are not going to support you. They are not going to take you seriously. They are going to act like you are nobody. And that's the reason why when you want to come up, start outside of your immediate environment. The people who normally, and I hate to say it, people who respect you the least are normally the people that know you the best. The people that are used to you being the one that's just kind of subservient and not really saying much, not really doing much, just blending in, don't want much out of life, not trying to do nothing. I'm just waiting. When you step up and step out and you step into your confidence as a woman, you'll be surprised at the people who you thought were the closest to you are going to be the very people that don't want to see you do great things. They're happy you're alive, but that's about it. If you're eating crumbs and just making it, they're okay with that. But you start talking that big talk, talking about I'm going to own a business, talking about me and my kids are getting out of the hood, talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If they even see you making moves that's not in alignment with struggle, they get intimidated sometimes. And I tell you, you want to remove yourself as soon as possible. Sometimes you cannot level up in the same environment where you struggled. And not sometimes, all the time. You cannot level up in the same environment where you struggled, especially if those same people that you were around are still there in the same struggle. Why do you think they recommend when people are dealing with some kind of substance issues to not go back into the same environment where they come from? It's because that influence is heavy. And if they're not careful, they're going to be taken over by it and go right back into the same behavior they were in. It's the same for us when we want to do better and level up. You can't be around the people who are accustomed to you just following after them and not speaking up. You can't be around the people who were always trying to overtalk you and, overrun you. They were very overbearing, trying to overtalk you, always trying to, act like your opinion didn't matter. Always trying to act like they can, overrun you and disrespect you simply because you were not ratchet or ghetto like them. Simply because you were not about the street kind of life like them. If you were a woman that has always had her head on straight, whether or not you lived in the hood, suburbs, country, wherever, if you were always a woman that had her head on straight, you just didn't have opportunity, you weren't in the right environment for people to really encourage you in your gifting and your skills and the things you wanted to do, you didn't have anybody imparting wisdom into you, any kind of positivity, any kind of spirituality, but you knew on the inside that you were meant for more than what you were going through. If you were that type of woman, but you just weren't given that opportunity younger, when you were young, and you grow up and you suddenly develop into your own and realize, I could be doing so much more. I am so much more. I don't have to look like this. I don't have to look like what I'm going through. I can change this. The moment you adapt that kind of mentality, jealous people who are too familiar with you, will say things like you're delusional. Do you know that haters, their standard of excellence is very low? Sometimes a hater and a jealous person will equate having a decent job, a job that every adult should have, as something somehow superior and makes you think that somehow you're better and you're arrogant. For jealous, envious people who are intimidated by the success of other people, their bar is so low. They look at doing normal activities as something delusional. I saw a clip, I don't know if it was on TikTok or on YouTube, it said unrealistic goals. And it was like a little reading nook, and it was very pretty. A reading nook, that's something you can have in your house. That's not unrealistic. But somebody in the comments section said, who is going to have a little reading nook? Who's going to have a nook in their house? What is a nook? That white stuff. That's what they said. They equated having a reading nook. And I'm telling you this story, this little thing that I saw on, I believe it was TikTok, to tell you how low mentality a lot of jealous people are. They see normal things as somehow corny and delusional. Wanting to live in the suburbs as a black person was once thought of as delusional. You just want to be around them. What does it matter? See, people who think like that, you need to run away from them because they have a stuck, stagnant mindset. They have a mindset that says they have to become a product of their environment. And I'm not saying that it can't happen, but when you are a woman who knows what she wants and you know you could be doing better, the people who are in your immediate environment, and this comes back to your circle and your circle of influence, is not going to be the people oftentimes that you think it should be. Your cousin that was so close to you will probably be very distant from you when you start making moves that are not in alignment with the struggle. And you don't want them around anyway if they're just going to be negative. Keep all negative energy to a minimum, or just don't have it, don't tolerate it, period. The best thing about evolving and growing as a woman is realizing that you have a lot of choice in who you decide to surround yourself with and who and what you choose to tolerate. You can strategically set up your circle of influence in a way that will be beneficial to you. I'm not saying in the world you're not going to deal with idiots. You're not going to deal with people who don't know how to act. People are going to say things and do things, of course. But in your personal life, when you want to do better, your circle, you must constantly be evaluating your circle of influence and the people you're around for where you are at the point you are in your life right now. You don't want haters. You don't want people constantly speaking negative. You don't want people who lack faith. You don't want people who never try to do anything, or at least are not okay with the idea of you trying something. They will be in the way. So when it comes to leveling up, jealous people, they will be like snakes in the grass. They're going to be very subtle, and you're going to have a keen eye and wisdom, that feminine wisdom, that womanly wisdom, that intuition, the Holy Spirit. You're going to have wisdom on the inside to know and notice the subtle little tactics and tricks of jealous people. They slither around like snakes trying to sabotage other people with their negativity. And it is your job to evaluate your circle of influence to make sure you do not have a snake among you. And when you do, it is your job to remove it, remove yourself, and to keep going regardless. No matter how much they try to get other people to turn against you too, because that's going to happen. When you begin to level up and be doing more in your life, they're going to try to sour other people's perception of you. They don't want other people to like you. They don't want other people to support you. So they're going to try to bring up maybe something from your past, maybe try to, say little things about you. She's not really this. She's not really that. Don't even worry about it, because when jealous people, envious people, haters try to get in the way, they are just darning themselves. They stay stuck longer than what they have to by minding your business. And they're going to sit back and watch you excel and elevate while they're still stuck in that same hater, jealous, envious mentality. So those kind of people you have to be aware of. Evaluate your circle, keep it small, and use wisdom when you're around certain people and recognize them for what they are. Don't always give people the benefit of the doubt. You can, give people the opportunity to kind of show you if they're loyal to you, if they're there to support you. But if they have one too many missteps, you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean you have to be bothered with them. That doesn't mean you have to still be around them. That doesn't mean that you still have to conduct business with them. That means that if you see them on fire in the street, you might hand them a bottle of water. That's all that means. That means that when you're walking down the street and you happen to see them, how you doing? That's it. But as far as your close sphere of influence and your circle, keep the snakes out of it. Keep jealous folks out of it. And the only way you can do that is if you recognize them for what they are and act accordingly. All right? Like and subscribe to All Things Woman, where we speak about femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. If that interests you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this content with another woman who needs to hear this information so that she can continue to develop and grow in her life and not be so discouraged by the haters. Because a lot of women are not there yet to where they can ignore and or recognize when people are trying to come at them in a jealous, envious, toxic way. Some of you still have slithering snakes in your immediate circle, and that's the reason why you're not able to go as far as you want to go. And when you recognize it for what it is, you can act accordingly, make moves, and do things that line up with the kind of life you want to live. And I'm almost certain that does not include having haters, snakes, jealous folks in your midst. All right? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the content. Take care.